And last but certainly not least, ROTC is a wonderful program because it means a lot of money for your students. If students can qualify academically and physically for ROTC, students can get their tuition covered, fees, room, board. They often get an allotment for books. They get an allotment for transportation. So there's a lot of money there. Of course, when the student gets out, there's a commitment to our U.S. military. And the way we are with our nation right now, it is a huge commitment. So students want to weigh that very carefully. But there's money there to be had if you're interested in that program. I mentioned that other form that some schools may want you to complete. You'll note that mostly private, out-of-state schools want you to complete this form, but you want to check. It's called the CSS Financial Aid Profile, and it asks for even more information than what the FAFSA requires. But you'll note that bottom bullet on the screen there that students are charged $25 per school to process this, and then an initial $16 registration fee. So it is pretty expensive, so you don't want to do this form unless you absolutely need to. But you want to check if any of you are looking at any out-of-state, very prestigious schools, make sure you don't miss out on that form. We're going to talk a little bit about the KEYS program. The KEYS program is our Kentucky Educational Excellence Scholarship Program, and you'll see that that program is funded by the Net Kentucky Lottery proceeds. And the way it works is that each year, Kentucky high school students can earn an award for their current GPA. So at the end of the freshman year, the student had a certain GPA, and that equals a dollar amount. Sophomore year, clean slate, new GPA, new dollar amount. So at the end of 4 years, if they've gone to a Kentucky school, they have 4 years of awards right there. And then students with at least one GPA award can also earn bonus awards. So if you have an ACT of 15 or higher, you can also get a bonus. And if students are on free or reduced lunch and they take the advanced placement test or the International Baccalaureate exam and they score a certain number on the test, they can get an additional bonus to that KEYS award. Now, you'll see at the bottom of the screen that there's a website, kia.com. And it's really important. I would encourage all you to go out to that kia.com website and check your KEYS bank account. They do send notices every year, but you want to make sure it's correct. You want to make sure the student's social security number is correct, date of birth is right, name is right, because it's really a great program. Because after high school, the student just simply goes to college and enrolls in classes, and that college reports the enrollment to KIA, and KIA sends us the money. It's as easy as can be. But when we report enrollment, we're looking at social security number and date of birth, so you want to make sure that is correct. Now you can use that at any Kentucky college or university, community college, public, private, whatever the case may be. There are a few majors, of course, that are not offered anywhere in our state. For instance, marine biology. No school in Kentucky offers marine biology. So there is a program called the Academic Common Market, which allows students that want to go out of state to use their KEYS at a very specific school. So in this case, it's Coastal Carolina University in South Carolina. You have to check. So if you know that it's something that's not offered in state, you have to check that Academic Common Market. The student can get that award for up to 8 semesters within 5 years of high school graduation. So they do need to go ahead and graduate and get started in their major, in their degree program pretty quickly in order to get that money. And students do have to earn a 2.5 at the end of their freshman year, and then a 3.0 at the end of their sophomore year, or be making good progress towards their degree in order to keep this money. Now, if any of you are considering out-of-state schools, obviously, if you go out of state and it's a major that's offered within Kentucky, you're not going to have your KEYS. So I would encourage you to talk to that out-of-state school and let them know you might be losing it, because they might be able to give you a bump in your institutional award. It doesn't hurt to ask. Now we're going to shift to the need-based financial aid side. And how many of you here today believe that you're needy? It's good to be needy in this situation. Because if you're not, then really, this is it. You're free to go. We all believe we're needy. We all believe that we need help to go to school. That's why you guys are here. And so I'm going to tell you how we define financial need. Each college or university creates what's called the cost of attendance. And we come up with what we expect it to cost at our university, 100%. And I'll show you all the different items that go into that cost of attendance. Then, you as a family create the free application, you file the free application for federal student aid. You create your record and you file it. And once it's completed, you will get a response back. It is the expected family contribution. That's the amount that the government expects you and your family to contribute toward the cost of college. And once we get that number, we subtract it from the cost of attendance. And if anything is left over, you have financial need. And at that point, you need to find out, how do colleges meet that need? For many colleges and universities, we meet need first through scholarships and grants, and then we use work study and loans. So we give you the free money first to meet that need, and then we switch over to those self-help aid programs I mentioned earlier. The cost of attendance always includes your tuition, which you would think, room and board. There is a component for room and board even if you don't live on campus. If you live at home with parents, somebody is still paying for the student's room, and board is just simply food, and I can promise you students are still eating. So there's a component, it just might not be as high. We always put books in our cost of attendance, and just a note on books, the cost of books are getting pretty high these days. And many students will just go on campus and they'll walk to their university bookstore and get their books. And that's really not my recommendation to you. If you have students that are getting ready to go to school, shop around. Look on the web. There are new companies now that will allow you to rent your textbooks over a semester and then return them. Now, if you're going to need them later on, that might not be the best thing. But look around. You know, if you're in a big city like Louisville and you go to a big campus, there might be several different bookstores. Price them, because books can get expensive. There's an allowance for transportation. Of course, that's not anything you pay to the college, but there is an allowance for that because you have to drive, or you may have to go to campus once a year, twice or 3 times, depending on the semester, if you go far away from home. And then miscellaneous personal expenses. And these miscellaneous expenses include the must-haves for college: soap, deodorant, toothpaste, and a laptop computer. Those are things you really have to have. So those are the kind of things that we can add into a budget, as well as loan fees. Some of the loans that students borrow, the company charges a fee, so we can add those right back in. And then if the student has any unique costs, like study abroad, they decide they want to go to Italy for a semester, we can add in the cost of Italy, a ticket to Italy, dependent care. If a student has a child, or maybe they're taking care of an older parent, we can add that into the student's cost of attendance. If a student has a certain disability, like for instance on my campus we had a student that was blind and she had a seeing eye dog. So we could use some of her expenses there. We add all that in to create our cost of attendance. So let me just show you, if you can take a look at this, there's 3 columns here for cost of attendance. So let's say that 1 is, I'm just going to use Transylvania University in Lexington, and I'll say 2 is Western Kentucky University in Bowling Green, and 3 is Jefferson Community and Technical College. 3 different, very cost institutions, right? Very, very different. But the amount that the family can contribute is the same. So Congress doesn't expect you to give more money if you go to a higher cost school. So you're going to have more financial need at a Transylvania versus a Western Kentucky University. But of course it costs more to go to a Transylvania versus a Western Kentucky University. So that's where you really have to look and see what you qualify, what you might get at those schools. Some students are very surprised as to how much they get at a private school. They're like, oh, I'd never expected to get that much, but the costs are higher as well. So that's where you have to really take a look and see what's best, and that's where you start playing that ever popular game on CBS, Price is Right, to see what works best for you.